knowledge is power.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
Music is an incredibly important part of what has been happening today.
That exclusive TED experience.
This has been really amazing.
Here we are in our new and happy home.
Today's lunch is no ordinary meal.
The idea of crowd farming was to ask everyone who came to TEDx Sydney to grow the food that we would eat on the day.
Creating ideas that are truly worth eating.
I'm sitting on this stage in this wheelchair and you are probably expecting me to inspire you, right?
I know that this is a TED talk, but now I'm going to TED sing.
I hardly think I have to give a talk. Well, you've seen all those videos, you know everything there is to know about me now, right? So my name is Remo Giuffre, and today I'm going to talk to you about community. You know, why is it a good thing? Well, I think, you know, human beings like to be with other human beings. COVID, if nothing else, showed us how much we missed being pressed up against other people in a room like this. There's just so much you can do on a virtual platform. The intuitive benefits of, you know, intuitively, community is a good thing, but there's also, you know, lots of research. The benefits are economic, they're personal, they're cultural. I don't have to convince you that building a strong and ideally passionate and engaged community is going to be better for your organisation or business than not. So my communities over the years started in 1988 when I founded a business using my own name, of course, called the Remo General Store. So this was a physical shop in Sydney. It was a big store, a big and busy store, and that's me in 1988 with my team in front of the store, holding a bathroom plunger. Is that coming up on there? A toilet plunger, which was my symbol of functionality, which was the focus of the merchandise, and that's my team back when I opened the store. So we had a catalogue. We sent that catalogue all over the world to 104 different countries. So even though we only had one store in Sydney, we had a lot of customers all over the world. And all of these customers felt connected to one another by virtue of their shared appreciation of values that were manifest in the merchandise that we sold. So we approached selling stuff as a kind of communications business. I'll get to that model later, but we ended up developing this incredibly passionate global community of customers. The next network that I started in the early 2000s, 2001, was this one called General Thinking. And this was different. This was a creative professional network of people in the work who were doing good and interesting things in their work. And the only way into the network was to be nominated by an existing member of the network. So it was like LinkedIn, but invitation only. And, you know, it had a manifesto. They had key rings, they had lapel pins. The manifesto was do good work, share the ideas, help other people, make a difference, have some fun. So who could argue with any of that, right? That was a good fun network. And then the big one that I'll focus on today was TEDx Sydney. So TED approached me in 2009, 2010. I founded TEDx Sydney and built it, and what a ride it was. And it grew and grew and grew to the point where, as one of those videos said, we had 5,000 people in a single room the last few times before COVID crushed it for everybody. So TEDx Sydney was a platform for to propagate Australian creativity and ideas to the rest of the world, but it was also a local community of people who were connected by virtue of their shared involvement in that mission to push those ideas up to the rest of the world. And, you know, this was an earlier version of the TEDx Sydney website. That's some members of the community. It's relevant that you can see who they are, you can see their faces, you can see their names. We'll get to that bit later. So, TEDx Sydney was actually, and still is, the centre of a very large cultural, creative ecosystem. There's the Meta TEDx Sydney community, but there's a community of speakers, a community of venue partners, team. Everyone's interconnected, and there's probably 1,000 people involved in that diagram. So, a lot of my most rewarding work has been, involved with the, TEDx Sydney brand. And I use this word cutting through because the things that I've learnt building all of these communities is that what we're all trying to do, either at an individual or an organisational level, is to cut through the noise, to be remarkable, to take the ordinary and make it extraordinary, to be heard, to get that job, to get that acting role, for people to read your book. So cutting through is kind of ultimately what we're all seeking, I believe. And what I've learnt over the years is that there's a few things that will assist you in your quest to cut through. And the first one is probably the most important and the most obvious. It's quality and the product. It all starts with the work you're doing, the event you're organising, the book you're designing. If it's high quality, then you're in the game. If not, you're not. Do good work, make others happy, and you will be happy. The second prerequisite is clarity of vision. So what are you doing and why are you doing it? And you can't just know that yourself. You need to be able to communicate that to your people so that they actually understand what the whole point of their existence within that organisational framework is. So as an example, that logo that I showed you that's in the centre, that drove our product development vision. So when we developed under our own brand, skincare or stationery or beach towels or what have you, it all linked back to one of the segments in that phrenology head. So people understood the product development vision and the Remo vision. Creativity, we've seen a lot of creativity today. It's not just about having kind of crazy, poetic, good ideas like the seashell headphones where you can hear the sound of the sea without using your hands. But to me, creativity is about connecting one thing to another to make something new that didn't exist before. So it's about pattern recognition, in my opinion. And it's about being observant and understanding that you don't have to do things the way that they've been done before. Second last one here, diversity. So back to the General Thinking Network, that logo, the colours, the rainbow represented all of the functional areas that those people worked in, banking or creative or government or education, so forth. And the premise here was that you'll always get a better result and a better solution to a problem if you involve lots of different people from those different categories, rather than like a room full of engineers or a room full of artists. You need to mash them all together. Get an engineer, get an artist, get a poet, get a physicist, give them a problem. It's going to be better. And finally, the topic for today's conversation, community. So, the golden thread that's connected all of my work over the years, probably the dominant thing has been about this one, the building of a community. And, I think I started out when I had the store. I was only 28 when I opened it, but I'm Italian. I like to communicate, right? I'm Australian, but I'm ethnically Italian. I like moving my hands around a lot. So communicating one-to-one, communicating one-to-many, it's kind of a very natural thing for me to do. So my natural proclivity was to stick everyone together, all my customers. Nothing gives me personally greater joy than meeting one person and introducing them to another person and connecting them and seeing them develop a personal relationship or a business opportunity. That's kind of sort of the raison d'etre. My personal mission is to connect other people, and I think I've done that my whole life. But there's a business, there is a structural thing, and this is, there's a lot of information. 70 slides, 15 minutes. Strap yourself in. But I'm going to show you the structural theory. It's a little bit geeky, but it's worth having a look. It's called what I call the network model, and I'll just go through it very quickly. So that B there, that represents the business, your club, your organisation, your company, your whatever. Those people surrounding it are potential customers or members. When they turn blue in my model, they become customers. That communication is from the business to the customer. That's traditional what they call B2C. And if you set up feedback from those members, those customers back to you, and you change your product, change your service to reflect the preferences of your members or customers, then that's better than that, right? But the next slide is kind of the punchline of this whole presentation, and that's what the network model looks like. So, two things you should notice from the change from there to there. Everyone's turned the same colour. Everyone's blue now. Everyone's a customer. The people who work at head office, the people who rep in the field, the people that you serve, everyone is actually a customer of this brand. And everyone is not just connected in a two-way relationship with the brand, they're connected to one another. And here's the punchline: they can see one another. They can see one another somehow in real space, online. They can share their relationship with the brand in a way that's visible. Maybe with some organisations it's hard to do that, but if you can pull this off, this is where you get the passion. A couple of things that flow traditionally in one direction flow in a different direction when you get the network model. So most of your new ideas, a lot of your content can come from the outside in instead of the old model from the inside out. And marketing, this is traditional marketing where you advertise out there in the hope that a tiny percentage of the people that you reach with your message will convert and become a patron or a customer or a member of your service. But the network model says, no, forget that. We're not going to do that. We're just going to focus on delighting our customers and giving them the tools to refer and evangelize and spread the word. So marketing in the network model happens from the inside out. So those two things that have swapped directions basically means that you end up with a superior, cheaper to run kind of business model. And it's been something that I've been doing with all of my endeavours over the years. This is a 20 years old screenshot from the old Remo website. It's looking very, Web 1.0, but you can see that customer has nominated 19 other customers to join the customer community. So it's not B2C, it's B equals C, them equals us, and the community is the brand. The community is the brand. And it's a better mousetrap business model across the board. So that's the network structure nerdy bit. But what you also need on top of that, the second thing, is there needs to be a coherent vision and purpose that imbues that structure. So back to the Remo thing, you don't need to read that slide, but that's the inside front or page 1 of one of the catalogues that we sent out, I think 1995. And every time we sent a catalogue out, we would have a page that would say, this is our mission, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and these are our values. And we just hammered it over and over again to the point where we started getting customers parroting it back to us. It was like seeped into their DNA that our brand was about them as much as it was us. So another example of vision is the TED tagline. I think you heard that it changed from ideas worth spreading to ideas change everything. So that is a very important symbolic shift in the TED mission from being just a sort of a celebration of ideas generically to more a platform that is committed to affecting positive change in a more intentional way throughout the world. 2 more communities. This is my latest endeavour. I'm writing these books, but I'm involving the readers in the generation of the ideas for the book. So number 1 was 80% my content. Number 2 was only 50% of the content was my idea. So we've got an online platform where customers can see each other, that thing again, and they can also suggest new topics for the next book. And the goal there is to build a global community of curious people who are share and celebrate everything interesting. And finally, at a grassroots level, you saw in that video that I live at the beach near Bondi. My wife runs this blog called Bondi Observer. And really, it's just 2 or 3 times a week she sends out an email with posts that she's collected during the week. And it's the people, it's the things, it's the events. It's really about introducing the community to itself. We get a lot of heartwarming responses from people in our neighbourhood who kind of learn about people that they've been seeing for a long time and they never actually walked up and said, "What's your story?" We tell the stories. That's coming to the end of my talk. That's the summary. If you want to build your community, have a network structure, if you can pull it off, and a purpose and vision that imbues throughout that. I'll leave you with my personal motto, which is kind of a shorter version of the general thinking motto. Do good work and have some fun. And I've had fun today. I hope you have too. So thank you very much.